My name is Christopher Hyman, and I'll be informing you guys, my listeners, of the new EPA regulations and how we can fight them. I'll now be explaining what these new regulations are trying to do and what has happened as of late. I believe this topic is important because the EPA is trying to kill off a part of American culture. As someone who just found a new interest or passion in cars, what's been happening as of late worries me extremely. The EPA's attack on motorsports is not only misplaced, but it's trying to destroy a tradition, and only the RPM Act proposed by SEMA can fight against it. Frankly speaking, the EPA's attack on motorsports is undeserving. If you look at American emissions, you'll see that car pollution is one of the smallest of all U.S. emissions. As shown on the EPA website under the Air Quality National Summary, while GDP has increased 182%, vehicle miles 114%, population 44%, the amount of CO2 emissions from cars has only risen a measly 15%. And that 15% amasses for all the cars on the road, not to mention the even smaller percentage of car enthusiasts that tune their cars to bypass emissions. If you look at the websites in favor of these new regulations, typically the first image you see is a diesel truck rolling coal. This is a huge generalization as not all cars produce the same amount of emissions. Not only do race cars not pollute as much as the EPA loves to infer, but they typically are not driven on public roads as the majority of them on trailers, and they need to be towed to the tracks. Secondly, the EPA is trying to shut down car culture. Car culture here in America is huge. Modifying our cars is one of the freedoms we have as Americans, as a lot of other countries are far stricter. The EPA cannot claim they're not trying to get rid of motorsports, as the average person does not have the funds to produce their own cars. The middle class, which accounts for the majority of the community, must build up the cars they get from manufacturers and use what's already provided. Car culture itself heavily centers around the freedom to modify cars to your liking. As a car enthusiast, you build your cars to your tastes and to set yourself apart from the rest. People express themselves differently. Some do it through their clothing, others do it from the way they behave, and we do it through our cars. The car community is huge and actually has even smaller communities within. Some people focus on straight line speed, others focus on stance, fitment, and the list goes on. Another great aspect of car culture is the car meets, where you have the chance to meet and talk to people who share the same passion as you, an event where you can make lifelong friendships and memories. The heart of the culture is modifying your cars, and when that is taken away, I'm honestly not sure what will be left. Finally, I will share with you guys the one thing that stands in the EPA's way: recognizing the Protection of Motorsports Act, or shortly, the RPM Act. The RPM Act, proposed by SEMA, the Specialty Equipment Market Association, is a bill that will protect your right to build fully dedicated race cars, but to also modify your car in your own home. The aftermarket industry is huge. That dude in blue, a popular figure in the car community on YouTube, states what you're trying to do is take away billions of dollars from the economy in the aftermarket industry and hundreds, if not hundreds of thousands of jobs. According to SEMA, the entire automotive industry is worth $41 billion in the year 2020 alone. $41 billion gone from our struggling economy due to the worldwide pandemic. If the main goal is to lower pollution, there are tons of other ways to do that are honestly much more effective. The EPA's attack on the car aftermarket industry is misplaced. These new regulations will destroy a huge part of American culture, and the only thing standing in the way of that is the RPM Act.